Hello, this is Jay, and recently, around a week ago or so, I got this figure come through in the post, 3D Totals anatomical figure, and I've been sketching away at it, and I thought I'd kind of document my process. Just because I want to improve my knowledge of anatomy, and so it's one way to document that, and I thought it might be useful in the process for anyone else who's kind of learning anatomy. So I've got the figure in front of me. Oh, let me pull it out. But because I don't have a webcam or anything, obviously you can't see me with the figure, so I'll just pop that down here. So what I've done is taken a series of photographs. Here's one of them, and I've also done this so I can use this on the train as I'm traveling back and forth, and just sketch with my pad. Well, not my iPad, just the ordinary sketch pad. So it's obviously I've just done this with a quick camera and set up a quick light, pop this onto a turntable, which is like a Lazy Susan, taking a series of images. So this is going to be more like a series of videos, kind of covering in this one proportion, so analyzing the proportion of this. And then looking at the skeleton, then muscles of the torso, the upper limb, the lower limb, and then the head. That's how I've planned to tackle this sort of mini self project. So yeah, what I want to do now is just trying to figure out the proportions of this, so I can then create an underlying skeleton to start drawing the muscles on top of. So if I just create a new layer. I'm going to do this in two ways. Proportion, I kind of like to think of proportion in two ways, which is one, using the how many heads high, and using this to help determine some landmarks. So by looking at some research of this model online, it's supposedly 7.5 heads high, and by also just examining the figure itself, it is also 7.5 heads high. I've got like a little ruler that I've used to line things up. If I just do this here, so far we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, brings us to around here, and then if I pop one around here, it's around halfway, maybe there. This should also be 4 down, so 4 should take me to, or 2 heads should take me to the top of the tibia. You can see it's a little high here, and I don't think that's to do with the model. I think that's more to do with how I photograph this. Statue. So it's a bit of distortion to the images, because that's around. It looks like it's just over 8, but I'd say it is. Well, it is from again using my ruler. It's just over. Well, it's just around 7.5. But this is using the head unit as a way of measuring. If I just flatten these ones and just leave this one open, we can then use this to just move that up slightly, measure the arm. So the arm from the armpit to the end of the fingers should be around 3 heads. So there we go, it's around 3 heads. The if we use this head unit, we can also go from the anterior superior iliac spine, just around here, to the clavicle, the top of the clavicle. So that's a bit, clavicle is a bit maybe higher on this model. Again, everyone's slightly different, so that's fine. We can also use this measurement to go from the ASIS on one side, the anterior superior iliac spine, to the other, and then figure out the width of the character. From shoulder to shoulder. So yeah, there's a lot of other things we can use this for, but that's what I tend to use it for. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I'm not blocking in with this one head unit. I think that's about it. yeah. Okay, so that's one way of sort of blocking down the character and measuring it out. If I just flatten these layers together, and I'll just call this head unit. The other way I like to block out a character, maybe I'll just lower that slightly, is to use the cranial index, and that's taking sort of cranial mass and using that as a guide. So that should be around 5 eyes wide, the cranial index. So if I try and draw a circle, just switch to a brush. If I just, oops. So yeah, something like that. We can then stick a box around this. Maybe I'll do that on a different layer. It's probably a bit too low, so I'm just going to go a bit higher. I'll just draw a box around this. So maybe around there. And then we can see this is around 1, 2, 3. I'm just roughing this in for 5 eyes wide. So I want to use this as a unit of measure, and I tend to find that this is very useful for laying down the skeletal landmarks, which is what we're going to sort of do in the next video. So if I just, let me hide that again, if I just duplicate this box, we see going down 2 boxes brings us to the clavicles and the pit of the neck. Going down again will take us to the bottom of the sternum, and then we've got the xiphoid process here. And then down again, and this will also take us to the 5th rib. Down again will take us to the 10th rib, which you can kind of see poking through here. And down again should take us to the anterior superior iliac spines. Pretty much. Again, it's obviously, you know, slightly off maybe on this model, or it's not the model that's slightly off, it's just that everyone's slightly different, so we have to take that on the chin. Okay, so that's there. I'm going to do one more box and take this around halfway, maybe around here. I'm just going to erase that half. Oh, that's maybe around here. Okay, that feels a bit long, but never mind. Now I'm just going to go down 6 from here, and 3 down should take me to the where the femur meets the tibia. So again, I could probably pull this up slightly, these 3 boxes, maybe to around here. And again, this is where my photos are a bit dodgy, but that's the length of the femur. It's around 3 of these cranial index boxes, and then 3 more should take us to the bottom of the foot. And again, that's more of the image, the photograph, than anything. If I carry on with this, if I take 2 of these boxes, we get the length of the humerus, and then we can use this for other things as well. So just trying to think where I can steal a box. There's one here. We can use this sort of measurement for the clavicle. Maybe if I poke that there, out it goes. We could use this for, trying to think what else on top of my head. I mean, we can use it for the scapula as well, for the medial border and the spine of the scapula. So there's lots that this will come in to play with. If I just flatten all of these boxes now, just do another layer, another color maybe. Yeah, so you can see we can hit the pit of the neck. We'll hit the sternum, and then we can add the xiphoid process, the 5th rib, 10th rib, anterior superior. Again, slightly off on this, but it should be fine. The end of the femur where it meets the tibia, length of the humerus, and so on. So very very useful measurement tool, I find. And lastly, if I just, well, yeah, I'll just hide that for now. Once we've got our skeleton in, we can use that to measure the other bones against. So for example, the femur is going to be the longest bone, then the tibia and the fibula will come next. Just roughing these in, and then we can look at the measurement of those. Maybe take like a fifth off this femur to get the tibia and the fibula. It's obviously not exact, but it gives us close enough sort of way of working to measure these bones. For the humerus, once we've got that in, 2 cranial indexes, we can take a fifth off this distance. If I just actually maybe copy that, oops, there we go. If I copy that and move this down here, if we knock a fifth off this, we kind of get the length of the radius and the ulna pretty much. And then for the hand, if we take this, let's take that section out for the carpals. If we take this and knock a fifth off that, we can kind of get the length of the first phalanx, and then if we take a fifth off that, let me make it bigger maybe. So let's pretend that's the metacarpal. If we take a fifth off also, we can get the first phalanx, the proximal. Then take a fifth off this joint, we'll get the medial, and then a fifth off this one, we'll get the distal. So that can be a very useful measurement tool as well. So we'll be doing that. I think that's about it. But so that's proportion-wise kind of laid out. We can knock these landmarks in. We can think about the length of the joint. So this kind of informs us for how we can block out the skeleton, which we'll do in the next section. Okay. So yeah, hopefully that was useful, and we'll crack on from here.